Hey everyone, Mike Sutton back again with the amazing Jade inspiration. Are you with me, Jade?
Absolutely.
Hey, there we go. And
Hey.
I'll put up your name there so everybody can see who you are. And so we are continuing our series that we started with our last collaboration together, just for us a few minutes ago, but for our listeners, maybe a couple weeks or a couple days. Just now we got done talking about inner child healing and kind of how that process works, what it looks like, what it feels like, some of what that's about. And so today we're going to go a little bit more general and talk about how our past influences our present. So where do we start with that?
That's a good question. And I've done a lot of research on that because I know that I've come from a traumatic past that requires a lot of healing. And because the pain of the moments that I would go through was very hard for me because I would have memories that would trigger me to have bouts of depression. So I had to find ways that connected me to, well, one thing, what am I depressed about? Why am I feeling sad? Why don't I feel good about myself? Where did that come from? And in my search, on my journey, and I'm sure it's similar to yours, Mike, that I had to look within, and I found out that a lot of what I was experiencing in my adulthood, as far as my self talk and how I was feeling about myself, was taught to me when I was a child because I wasn't given a lot of praise. I wasn't given a lot of hope. I wasn't given a lot of confidence in myself and abilities. So as children, we don't have the adult ability to really comprehend and calculate and intellectualize what is going on in our life as children. Therefore, in our adulthood, we bring to us the beliefs and understanding that we learned in our childhood when we were at that age. So if we experience a trauma at 5 years old, we bring it to our adulthood with that 5 year old understanding until we decide that something's not right. Let's look at this closer.
And a lot of times we're not doing that consciously. We don't feel depressed or get in a fight with somebody or lose our temper and explode in a kind of inappropriate situation and think, oh, that's because of my childhood. In fact, it can be really frustrating because a lot of times we don't know why we're doing that. And this is very common. I talk to people all the time who feel like I'm depressed and I'm anxious and I have fear and I have anger and I have all these things and I don't know where it comes from. They just kind of identify with it and say, well, this is who I am. But I also do a lot of interviews with entrepreneurs and coaches like yourself. And over and over and over again, I'll hear this story that outlines a pattern of we have this past emotional trauma. We identify with that pain and kind of think that's where our story starts. And then we unconsciously recreate that over and over again until we get to a period of awakening where we can go back and do that inner child healing and deal with some of those issues. And then we can move into a phase where we're living more consciously. But during that time where you're living unconsciously, recreating that past, I think the word that you use, trigger, is spot on. And that's the main thing that I see. Either we get triggered by a situation that in the present we emotionally identify as similar to our past, or from our past we just learn techniques and strategies for relating to other people and how to behave and how to get what we want and how to, what we're responsible for and what we're not responsible for. And if we learn those things as children in response to an unhealthy situation, whether it's emotionally traumatic or not, but then carry that into adulthood where it doesn't serve us anymore, we're not going to get the results that we expect. I mean, what did I leave out?
Nothing actually, and I think you just completed the show. Bye everybody. No, but
We're
no,
done.
no, I love the way you said all of that because we do live. Actually, our actions are determined. 95 or 90% of our actions, what we do, what we don't do. 95 or 90% or so of our actions are based on our subconscious beliefs. And our subconscious beliefs and experiences are our memories from our past. And it's not only our past in childhood, it's also our past as far as yesterday. If something happens and we remember it. We remember the emotional effect of it. We remember, it's like, smelling baked bread, and it brings you back to a time where, right,
Yep.
you had that experience of baked bread, or you might have gotten spanked when someone was baking bread, right? Like you said, those triggers. So a lot of the times, if our beliefs that were given to us by parental figures or mentors, saying that you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, or anything, even teasing from children from school that have teased us, making us feel less than we are, we subconsciously hold that in our hearts. And it is manifested in our adulthood, in our limiting beliefs, like you said. So it's about changing our subconscious beliefs about ourselves, about our capabilities, and who we really are. And like you said, when we live in our authentic self, and that means truly listening to what we want, listening to who we really want to be, listening to what our true needs are. And a lot of that comes from, what does your inner child need? So right now, if you're feeling unloved, it's possible that it's your inner child that was feeling unloved as a child.
So how do we start to recognize that if we're not really aware of that? Because I talk to people all the time, specifically around depression or anxiety, who will just say, I have depression or I suffer from anxiety. And when we try and start talking about where does that come from, what's behind it, it seems like there's a real misunderstanding that people have. We know that we're depressed and we know what that feels like now, but we really don't recognize where that comes from. How does somebody who's in that situation, how do you help them connect that back to, what those root causes are, why they get so easily frustrated with coworkers, why they fly off the handle, why they feel unappreciated, why they feel like they can't connect to their friends and family the way they want. How do you get people to connect with that?
I think what's really important is that you really find somebody that is going to be able to support you in your effort to figure out what's happening inside of you. And I think, hiring a life coach or reading positive books about inner child healing, about depression, about connecting with your authentic self, that's going to help a lot. It's helped me a tremendous amount. But at the same time, what really helped me get over a lot of my past traumas, and I still do. I'm still working through a lot of it, because it's a process. It's not, healing is not a destination. It's a process, and you become less and less emotionally traumatized when you get triggered. So the best way to really get over traumas from your childhood is to heal the child within, and find support to where someone that you trust, whether it's a life coach, whether it's a psychologist, or whether it's a longtime friend that you are comfortable with and you trust, that you can really talk to. And journaling is also very important too, because it's almost like a brainstorming that kind of needs to go on, because our childhood was a while back. So, we don't always connect the dots.
Yeah, and I think, like you mentioned, a couple strategies there: journaling, practicing gratitude consciously, meditation, working with a coach, reading books. All these things are really important because we don't know what we don't know. We're in the situation we're in because
Yeah.
we made our best effort to get ahead, to be happy, to get where we wanted to be, and this is where it got us. Which, in my case, for a lot of years, that felt even more frustrating because I would think, well, I want to be happy, I want to be successful, but I'm here and I'm not, and I don't have that. And I think, like you said, it's going through some of those practices, some of those disciplines: journaling, practicing gratitude, meditation, working with a coach, and then also just being open to seeing the world a different way,
Oh,
recognizing
precisely.
that something's not right. There's probably an explanation for it. I've run through every possibility in my head, so it must be something that I haven't considered yet. Maybe it's finally time for me to think about how my past may have impacted me, because I talk to business owners all the time who are struggling and frustrated and not getting the results they want. And they'll say, well, sure, I struggle with depression and anxiety. And sure, my dad drank, or my parents got divorced, or we moved when I was 15 and I lost all my friends, or I mean, my parents spanked me, but it wasn't abusive, or all these things. And it just gets completely discounted. But those are a lot of times the things that we have to go back and look at.
Well, absolutely. And, nobody has all the answers for everybody because your story and your events and your experiences will be different, and there's so many modalities of healing that can help you. And so it's just really, being aware that you are in pain, any kind of pain that is stopping you from going after your dreams, from going after what you want in life. And what's also really important, not only in your awareness, but your openness, like you said, Mike, is very important, being open to seeing things differently, but also loving yourself throughout the process, because we're not perfect right now, because we do have times where we're not feeling good about ourselves. That doesn't make you less valuable. It doesn't make you less of a person. It doesn't make you less empowering. It just makes you a person that is on a journey of growth. And love yourself for that. Love yourself for your natural ability to evolve and learn. And always be gentle with yourself, even if you're learning something new. And it's okay.
And you
Not to be
you
perfect.
slipped a really great point in there, which is that the natural state of our bodies is to be healthy and happy and to thrive and to grow and to heal ourselves. If we don't feel that, there's something wrong. So don't be afraid to go back and look at it. The happiness is there for you when you're ready for it.
Absolutely.
All right. So we
Absolutely.
blew over 10 minutes again. We're coming up on 12 here. Did we figure this out last time? How do we sign off from Right On Baby, the Inner Growth Show?
Wow. You just did it for me. Thank you.
All right. We're all set. So
Thanks, everybody.
awesome. We'll be back again.